Hello friends, and thanks for dropping in once again with another TNT. I'll start today with a very quick thank you. I've actually crossed a couple of milestones over this week, things that I didn't think I'd be doing for many, many months ahead, and it's all because of you. So a sincere and very grateful thank you to you for your support and allowing me to come into your live for just a little bit of time each day, hopefully bringing you the latest and some different perspective on Thai and regional news. But enough of that, let's get started. Yes, here we are in Studio One. Thank you very much for dropping in today, and plenty to talk about. And we'll start, well, not quite locally, but this from Thai PBS World, reporting that the ASEAN foreign ministers are urging more progress in the Myanmar crisis. Remembering that all the foreign ministers got together in Jakarta yesterday, and there was one big item on their mind, and that, of course, was what's happening in Myanmar. The Southeast Asian foreign ministers acknowledged yesterday that their efforts to bring peace to Myanmar have not succeeded, and they were calling for concrete, practical and time-bound actions. Well, I've criticised ASEAN in the past for being a toothless tiger and literally doing nothing with a lot of the human crises that happen from time to time around the region, and certainly, of course, including the 10 countries under the ASEAN label. And this is what they're calling for down here. The 5-point consensus calls for the immediate cessation of violence, a dialogue among concerned parties, mediation by an ASEAN special envoy, provisions of humanitarian aid, and a visit to Myanmar by the special envoy to meet all concerned parties. They'd already done that pretty much in the months after the February 2021 military coup. So I'm not sure what's changed between then and now that makes ASEAN think that they're going to have any more access to Myanmar than they have in the past. So the meeting agreed that ASEAN should not be discouraged, but even more determined to help Myanmar to bring about a peaceful solution. This is from the chair of the meeting. The Indonesian foreign minister said that the ministers expressed their concern and disappointment, and in some cases frustration. Well, just words, a bit like the thoughts and prayers often offered by officials to parents of children who have been shot in those school massacres. Down the bottom there, ASEAN members traditionally avoid criticising each other. Well, to quote Fawlty Towers like I did yesterday, and Basil Fawlty this time, what's the point? I mean, if they don't criticise each other, if they don't confront issues, what's the use of having ASEAN at all? Growing numbers of refugees are fleeing Myanmar and seeking asylum throughout the region, and the US-based Human Rights Watch said an estimated 70,000 have fled to neighbouring countries since the military took power. And what happens to those refugees? Let's see. Malaysian authorities reportedly have accelerated deportation to Myanmar, returning over 2,000 people since April. And Thai authorities have pushed asylum seekers back across the Myanmar border without verifying their protection needs. So there you go, fellow ASEAN countries showing their compassion and trying to help those refugees. Not. Let's move to our next story today. And cops look at pubs' ties to China groups. Owners may have violated visa rules. This is about a story which we featured yesterday, where I think there was 247 or something Chinese people who were arrested, most of them who had been taking drugs, enjoying some karaoke and probably a little bit of gambling, in behind a car wash. So now the immigration department and the top cops are thinking, maybe more of this is happening around Bangkok than we already know. Police are looking into whether a group of wealthy business owners from China are behind the growing numbers of unauthorised night entertainment venues and illegal gambling dens in Bangkok's Ratchada and Sutisan areas, as well as Pattaya. This is from the Deputy National Police Chief, Surachat Hakpan, who I tip will be the next police chief in Thailand. The expanded investigation followed a raid on a karaoke parlour masquerading as a car wash in Saton district early on Wednesday, led to the arrest of 268 people, many of whom were Chinese citizens. When they say many, I think all but two. So the story goes on to say that on the same day, police found traces of amphetamine in the system of Yu Xihua, a 32-year-old Chinese tourist who died under mysterious circumstances after visiting a pub on Rashada Road. Down the bottom, the police saying that investigators have reason to believe both the pub on Rashada Road and the karaoke parlour on Saton Road are run by the same people. Well, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, smells like a duck, probably is a duck. Not only did the bar offer drugs to its patrons, the staff even offered to keep leftover illicit products for their clients. So I think we reported yesterday it was Thai, Cambodian and Vietnamese staff, and if they're offering to look after the drugs, then I imagine they're probably complicit in the whole strange arrangement. The investigators are also aiming to find out, with the help of Chinese authorities, how these Chinese business people managed to leave their country while strict COVID-19 restrictions are in place. So it may be nothing to do with Chinese tourists. From memory, you've got Japanese number 1, Chinese number 2, Filipinos number 3 as the most numerous expats living in Thailand, particularly up in Bangkok. So these might just be local Chinese expats looking to have a bit of a good time. Anyway, that's that story, so I'm sure we'll hear a bit more about that. But in just a moment, we're going to be heading to the offices of 5 Star Marine, where people were busy yesterday attending to the flood relief. This is TNT. So here we are at the headquarters of 5 Star Marine at a boat lagoon in Phuket, and the ongoing relief work is still, well, ongoing. We've got volunteers here and also staff from 5 Star Marine doing some packing of life bags. Now, this particular batch of life bags have pretty much just been completed, and they're about to be dispatched to a Burmese workers camp up in Laguna. Burmese workers who have been working in the Laguna area with a few of the developments there. And they had their entire workers camp basically demolished when the waters came through somewhat 10 or 11 days ago now. They lost everything, and bedding, all their belongings, their clothes, everything. So since then, the area that they were living in has sort of been cleared, and the ramshackle lodgings have at least been sort of repaired to a state where they can move back in, but they've got nothing. And so both the developers who have been using them as labour and Living Waters Phuket, 5 Star Marine and Phuket Hotels Association have been working to keep these people going, to feed them, provide them with supplies. So this is just some of the great work that's still going on. Even though the tourists are still coming back and, well, the weather's so much better, there's still up to 100 communities around Phuket who are still suffering the ravages of those floods. Some of those waters up to 1 metre deep, in some cases ruining their lodgings and most of their possessions. So thumbs up for these volunteers and the staff here at 5 Star Marine doing an amazing job, and it needs to be recognised, and we thank them for their great service and their support. You're watching the TNT program, and tomorrow we're going to be doing our live session once again, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Thai time, just you and me, and hopefully a cuppa, and we'll have a good old chat. Got a bit to catch up on, haven't we, since we missed out last week when I was in Australia. This story from The Nation, nationthailand.com. Thailand targets 1 million highly skilled foreigners under the long-term visa. This is basically an updated report giving us the latest numbers on these long-term resident visas. Around 1,000 people applied for the LTR visa from September the 1st to October the 20th. According to the Board of Investment. Here we go. Let's have a look at who they are. Wealthy individuals, 88. Wealthy pensioners, many of them, 430. Certainly the most popular type of LTR visa. Work from Thailand, 366. Highly skilled professionals, 160. So let's just go to what the headline said. The Thailand targets 1 million highly skilled foreigners. They're looking at attracting that in 5 years. So I don't know, let's just say if they were getting 1,000 a month, not just 1,000 between September the 1st, that's like 1,000 in nearly 2 months. If they were getting 1,000 a month, that means after 5 years, they'd have 60,000. So based on just 1,000 a month, and they're boasting about getting 1,000 in nearly 2 months, they're going to be missing their target by some 940,000. So I think they're using the analysts and statisticians from the TAT again. Anyway, let's go on. So where are they coming from? United States, 232. Then we've got China, the UK, Germany and Australia. They're saying they want to stimulate spending and investment. Okay, it'll probably stimulate spending like anybody coming to the country. They're going to have to rent a property, maybe even eat. They want to drive competitiveness. Have no idea, that's just word salad. They're talking about being competitive, providing interesting visa options to foreigners, well, maybe. Increase economic growth. So just more word salad there from the BOI. Just thinking though, as I read through this article, this just looks like a media release. It could have even been paid for. The BOI was spending a lot of money with the Bangkok Post the last 2 or 3 months promoting their long-term resident visa scheme. So this may have been a paid-for article, although it hasn't been published as such. They even included a couple of photos at the bottom. There we are. There's some of our high-spending foreign visitors, and even more. I could have really picked some better photos. To our next story today, and sedans earmarked for use by Xi and Putin. So more roundabout sort of confirmation that these two might be coming to the APEC meeting November the 14th to the 19th. The BMW i7 electric sedans shipped from Germany have arrived in Thailand for leaders of the 21 Asia-Pacific economies taking part in the APEC summit. So I was wondering why didn't they use some cars actually manufactured here in Thailand? The reason will become apparent in just a moment. BMW don't actually have any factories in Thailand. Where is their largest factory? I checked this morning. In South Carolina, in the United States. There you go. But no, there's no BMWs manufactured in Thailand. Mercedes, yes. Then you've got Honda, and Nissan, Toyota, many others. The luxury vehicles set aside for the Chinese leader Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin have already been reserved for purchase by unidentified Thai buyers. Hi, guess who drove in this car at the APEC meeting? Yeah, Vladimir Putin. That'd go down well, wouldn't it? So they want to buy the cars whether the leaders will use them or not, whether they come to the summit or not. We really don't know. Some leaders from major world powers are expected to use vehicles provided by their own government. Some leaders may send their representatives to attend the conference in their place. I know the United States, for example, especially when the president is travelling, they've got their whole own motorcade, which, what's the name of the car? You'll tell me, won't you, the name of the car they use to drive the president around. Anyway, yes, not everybody will be in a BMW electric i7. Here's the crux of the matter. BMW is the official mobility partner for APEC 2022 to be held on November the 18th and 19th under the theme Open, Connect and Balance. And then it tells us at the bottom, the all-new model of BMW i7 has a starting price of 7.8 million baht. Aha. So it looks like this was another media release, this time from BMW. Our next story, also from Nation Thailand. Analyst sees long-term risk for Thai firm after purchase of Miss Universe organisation. So this is vital information that a lot of you will be very concerned about. The Miss Universe contest has been bought by a Thai. Horror and shock. So, an investment analyst on Thursday pointed to a potential long-term risk for a Thai company, JKN, after its purchase of the US-based Miss Universe organisation. And the analyst said there might be some risk in the long term. They may need to increase the capital, inject more cash, blah, blah, blah. He noted that the price of JKN's stock has seen a continuous decline since the latter half of last year from 10 baht to a little over 4 baht. So, yeah, I think there's a good reason that they're buying such a high-profile competition, and it may be their falling stock price. The second paragraph, the analyst said he was unsure if MUO was still making a big profit, which could explain why the previous owner sold it to JKN. I think they would have checked that, wouldn't you? I think they probably did. On Tuesday, JKN announced MUO's acquisition after successful negotiations with the previous owner, IMG. Meanwhile, the JKN CEO, known as Anne, I'm not going to even try that one, said that her company has set up a new subsidiary called JKN Metaverse. I think we'll be hearing a lot more of that word. So 5 subsidiaries there which are part of the purchase. IMG and the company's names will be replaced with JKN, according to Anne, who's a media tycoon and an advocate of transgender rights. So there you go, not sure why they added that last bit, but the Miss Universe contest now owned by a Thai media company. To our last story, back to Jakarta where we started today, and noting that the ASEAN meeting of the foreign ministers was held yesterday, where they did nothing and said a lot about the Myanmar situation, but a Lion airplane made an emergency landing at Jakarta amid jet engine failure shortly after takeoff. Note that photo there. And we go to the story. Flight JT330 bound for Palembang departed from Jakarta Airport at 5:13, 169 people. At a height of 3,000 feet, the pilot felt that one of the engine's components was not functioning as it should, and it was apparent that it needed to be checked. The plane, which was flying above Jakarta Bay, turned around for an emergency landing and returned to base safely 39 minutes after takeoff. Here is a little bit of video of the plane landing. One thing is quite apparent, that engine is obviously on fire. And not only the video showing that it was on fire, people inside the aircraft also telling investigators that the plane was on fire. So they did stress that the plane, a Boeing 737-800 new generation, had passed its pre-flight checks. So passengers saying they heard an explosion coming from the left side of the plane moments after takeoff. One passenger then noticed that the plane's left jet engine was on fire. Despite passenger testimonies and footage suggesting otherwise, the Indonesian Flight Navigation Service Institution said it found no evidence of fire or smoke emanating from the plane's left turbine. Maybe we'll just help them. Here's a photo, a close-up of that plane landing. That engine looks like it's on fire to me, and here's a photo of the plane as it was approaching the airport for a safe landing, and also looks like it might be on fire there. And just noting down the bottom, in October 2018, Lion Air Flight JT610 crashed shortly after takeoff from Jakarta, killing all 189 on board. Well, that was the first of 2 Boeing 737 MAX aircraft crashes, the second one an Ethiopian air flight, which led to all of the 737 MAX aircraft being grounded for, I think it was over 2 years, and a big investigation into the safety practices and the culture at Boeing aircraft. Just also noting on that bottom of that article, the latest major commercial aviation disaster in Indonesia was in January 2021. That aircraft, a Boeing 737-500, which crashed off the northern coast, killing 62 people. So just noting the last 3 air crashes coming out of Jakarta were all Boeing 737s. And with that, we thank you very much for tuning in today. Please subscribe to the channel. Big thanks and thumbs up to 5 Star Marine, not only for sponsoring the program, but also doing a fantastic job contributing to that Phuket flood relief program initiated by the Phuket Hotels Association. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we'll be doing it live, probably at the same old spot at 9 a.m. Thai time. We've got plenty to talk about. In the meantime, have a fantastic time until weekend. Have a great Friday. See you tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Otherwise, we'll be back on Monday.